Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today is day 17 of our 100 days of DevOps journey, and we are continuing in our study of Git. So we've been looking at Git for the past 2 days, trying to understand what Git does. We started with the concept of version control, then we talked about centralized version control and distributed version control, which we also said that Git is a distributed version control system. And we've been studying Git. Yesterday we studied branching, merging, and conflict resolution. And today we'll continue in that progression. So if you're seeing this channel for the first time, we are trying to cover lots of things about DevOps in 100 days. So that's why we started the 100 days of DevOps challenge, and we've started with learning the fundamentals, which we started with Linux, and then after Linux we moved to understanding networking concepts, where we talked about IP addresses, OSI model, TCP/IP, and the likes. And then we are currently looking at Git version control and Git and GitHub in general. So if it is something that resonates with you, you can subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and turn on your notification bell so that whenever I post more content or fresh content, you get informed immediately. And if you know anybody who also wants to learn DevOps or tech in general, you can also share this channel with them so that they can come and learn in any way they can. And always feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, if you have anything you would want to add or contribute. You can drop your questions in the comment section. I will be so glad to respond. You can also reach out to me through my socials. You can reach out to me through my LinkedIn, my TikTok, and through other means. So today we are going to continue with our study on Git, just like I said, and we are going to be considering three concepts, which are forks, clones, and creating pull requests. So I remember about 2 days ago, on the first day of our version control system, when we were talking about the different types of version control, we said we had the local version control system, the centralized version control system, and the distributed version control system. And we said that the difference between the centralized and the distributed version control system is that for the distributed version control system, each developer or each person working on a project has a copy of the main version control system. So we said those copies are called forks. So each developer A, forks the main repository to his own account. Developer B does the same thing. So they make changes, they constantly make changes to their repository, and in turn makes changes to the main repository, so that if anything should happen to the main repository, they don't lose their work, they don't lose what progress they've made, and they are able to continue working with each other, because now everybody's repository is on the same level. So now I explained what forks mean, but today we are going to just be doing a demonstration of that. No long talks, no notes, nothing. We're just going to explain how to fork a repository, how to clone a repository, and how to create a pull request. So without wasting more time, I'm going to try to make this session as short as possible. So we'll go straight to business. So let's go to the repository that we created. So we created this repository. So the first thing is, how do you fork a repository? You will see this particular icon here. So we are going to fork this repository to a different account. I have my personal account, and I have the organization account. So I'm going to fork this repository to the organization account, and I'll just click on it. So this is how you fork a repository. You choose an owner. So this, I already have the repository existed. So this is my organization account. So I'm going to fork it to this particular account, and I would say let me just put it like this so that it doesn't contradict what we have on our virtual machine. So we create a fork of the repository. So now we've already created a fork of the repository. So it's going to take a while to transfer all the things in the repository down to this place. So now you can see that it is showing here forked from. This is where I fork the repository from. But this particular account is not my personal account. This is the my organization account, and you can see this branch is up to date with my personal account branch. So that's basically how you fork your repository. You just go to the repository you want to. For most times, that's how most people contribute to open source projects, and they like you go to the main project, you fork the repository to your own account, and then you start making changes. When you make those changes, then you create a pull request from your own account to the main repository. And then when developers review it, then they see that, okay, it's making sense, then it is approved. So basically, this is how it all works. It's not something that is complicated. It's not a magic. It's just simple. You fork the repository, you make a change to whatever you want to do, and then you create a pull request. A pull request basically is just, okay, let's take it one step at a time. So let's now that we forked the repository, now you already know how to fork a repository. It's as simple as that. So basically, forking is just creating your own copy of a repository. So that's as simple as it is. So the next thing is to clone. How do you clone a repository? Basically, cloning is just taking the remote repository and then transferring it to your own local repository. We did that on the very first day. So we are going to clone this repository. We are cloning this one. This is our remote repository. We're going to clone it to our virtual machine. So if I do ls, so you can see the one we've been working on, this is the main one, is there already. And that's why I had to change the name. So let's do, the command is git clone. Then you paste the repository URL and then click on enter. So it's cloning the repository. So you can see that it is Vetrax1, not my personal name. So when I do ls, you can see that I have the main one and then I have the repository that was forked. So when you do cd, so we're going to make some changes and then we're going to create a pull request. So basically now we've forked the repository and now we've cloned the repository. So you know how to do it. These are not magic. They're just basically simple things. So when you do ls, you can see that the same thing that we have on the main repository is what we have here. So when I do git remote -v, so I can see that I'm only connected to the forked repository. Now, how do I make changes to my repository which will reflect on the main repository? So now we need to add, it's something called an upstream. So you need to add the upstream, that's the main repository. So we'll just do git add, git remote add upstream. Then we go and get the repository. So now I'm on the main repository. That's my own personal account, not the forked repository. So when I go back, so git add remote upstream. So I'm naming it git remote add upstream rather. So when I click on this, when I do git remote -v, so now you can see that I have, and the name of this one is origin, which is local to my own account, while we've named this upstream. So upstream is the main repository. So I can always make changes from my local account and then make changes to and then push it to the upstream if I want to. So basically another reason why I'm adding this is because when you're working on an open source project, you're not the only one working on it. So there are several people. Sometimes they can be like 30 people working on the project. There can be like 50 people working on the project. So before you make changes to a project, an open source project, you want to ensure that you have the latest changes of that particular repository. So you want to make sure that you are not behind. You're not behind the main repository. You have to make sure that your own repository and the main repository are on the same page. So how do you do that? So you can say let's see, we are on the our branch is main. So you can do git. Okay, we only have one branch, so we don't need to do git checkout. So we can do git merge upstream main. So we are merging all the changes from our upstream branch, from our upstream repository, from the main branch. We are merging it to our own branch. So if I do git merge upstream main, so it's supposed to, I'm supposed to see it's up to date. So I need to see what the issue is. Let's do git branch -r. Okay, so we can do git fetch upstream. Let's see. Okay, so when I do git merge, let's check again. Git branch -r. Okay, so basically what happened was that I did not fetch. I should have run git fetch upstream to add it to the number of my branches before I do git merge. So let me clear my screen. So now I can do git merge upstream main. So when I do git merge upstream main, it's showing already up to date. So it just means that my forked branch and the main branch are up to date. So if it was a case where there were any changes before we want to make our own changes, those changes will automatically be added to our own repository. Then we can make change. It's good to do that. It's one of the best practices, especially if we are working in a team. So what we are doing is basically we are trying to learn how to work with a team, because that's actually what Git is here to do. Helps us collaborate with different members of the team on a single project without anybody stepping on each other and without anybody clashing. So now that our own main branch and the upstream branch are up to date, let's make some changes and see how we can do a pull request. So when I do ls, so let's add one line to this our story.txt. So let's say this is the 7th line of the story. So when I save this, so I do git status. Okay, git add, and I do git commit -m, can say changes for review. Okay, can we git push origin main. So when I do that, my changes have been pushed to my repository. So let's go to the repository and see the changes that was pushed. So let's go to my organizations and see that repository. Okay, so we have this. So you can see that our change was pushed now. If I should open it, so you can see this is the 7th line of the story. So now remember that this is on my organization's repository, not the main repository. So here we have 7 lines of our story, but if we go back to our main repository, we should have 6 lines. So if I go back here and I click on storyline.txt, our last commit was yesterday, and you can see that we have the 6th line of the story. So now, how do you create a pull request? So basically, to create a pull request, you just come to a pull request is just simply saying I've made changes to this particular code or this particular file. I want to merge it from my own repository to the main repository. So basically, it's just like in a production environment, you don't tamper with the main repository. You don't tamper with it. What you do is that most times, due to each organizations have different procedures or protocols that they follow, and one of them is you can't just make changes directly or immediately. You have to make a pull request. So when you make a pull request, a superior or a senior person reviews your pull request, and if it has been vetted to be okay, it merges it to the main repository or the main version control system. So how do you do that? You can see pull request here. You click on pull request, and then you click on new pull request. So then you come here. You can see, if you need, you can also compare across forks. So basically, compare changes across branch, commit, tag. You can do pull request with branch of the same repository. You can always do that, but this time we forked the repository, so we want to compare with one repository to another repository. So we click on compare across forks, and then this is the repository that you want to update. This is our main repository on your left. Now on your right, you have the liberty to choose. So because I have forked this repository, you will see it. If I had not forked it, you will not see it as an option. So because I had already forked the repository to this particular one, you will see it there. So I click on this. So when I click on this, I come here and I can see the change. This is the 7th line of the story. So what do I do next? I just create a pull request. So when I create a pull request, I can write a comment. Kindly approve the 7th line of the story. I can go ahead and make it more formal. Can do the guards, and then I'll click on create pull requests. So a pull request has been created. Now, once I do that, because I'm the owner of these both repositories, I would just come here, and it will come. It has come here as pull request, and you can see one pull request has been created. So if I come here now, I will see changes for review. So when I click on it, I can see the comment, kindly approve the 7th line of the story. So then I can click on file changes just to see the difference. So I can see, okay, a 7th line was added. If it is something that I say, okay, it makes sense, then I come back here. Then I can now click on if I click on the drop down, it will show me different options and all of that. So if I don't want to match the pull request, and I see that it's not something I want, I can always close the pull request without merging it. But let's even assume that, okay, everything is fine and everything is okay. So what I do is I'll just click on merge pull request, and I can write anything. Merge pull request this is from vetrax/main. I can probably change it to something. I can change it to the name, or basically I can just leave it like this so that it shows where the pull request is coming from, so that whenever they want to review, whenever there's a review of different pull requests, you can basically track where each pull request came from. So you click on confirm merge. So it merges it to your main code base. So you can see it here, it's showing merge. So you can see pull request successfully merged and closed. So if I come to my code and I click on this, now I am on the main repository, not the forked repository. When I click on storyline.txt, you can see now it has been added. This is the 7th line of the story. So basically this is everything about clone, forks, and pull requests. Is something that This is something that is done on a production environment. So whatever we are doing here is not just for your own local use. Basically, it's just to teach us how things work in corporate world. It's just to prepare us for how things work in a production environment. These are standard procedures that are followed in a corporate environment. So nobody allows you to make changes to the code base directly. Most times you have to create pull requests which have to be, reviewed then before merging. So basically, this is how developers come together to work on a single project without anybody stepping on each other's toes and without there being any conflict. So far we've learned about Git branching, we've learned about Git pull, Git push, creating forks, cloning a repository, and we've also learned about pull request. So that will be all for me today. We'll continue tomorrow and I will see you again. Until then, cheers.